Imola, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, San Marino, the Italian Grand Prix, well, whatever you call it, welcome to Circuit Studies, breaking down each F1 track race by race. Today's lesson, the Italian Grand Prix. This race takes place at the Autodromo International Enzo Adino Ferrari circuit. It's got 63 laps. The lap length is 4.909 kilometers, 19 turns going anti-clockwise and 1 DRS zone. This track has a proper old school feel. It's technical, it's fast and it's flowy. And just like many old school tracks, it's got gravel traps and grass to catch the drivers out. And there's other challenges too, because it's a very narrow circuit, which does make overtaking quite difficult here. And this puts the emphasis on qualifying. Drivers need to qualify well in order to gain track position. We do get good action though. Sector 1 is the most demanding. On the straight, you've got the only DRS zone, and then that's followed by 2 high-speed chicanes at Tamburello and also Villeneuve. And then at Tosa is where drivers will need to brake heavily. Sector 2 is really interesting because of the elevation changes. So drivers climb towards Piratella before the drop at Acqua Minerale, and then in Sector 3 we've got the speed trap before the heavy braking zones, and then after this the drivers are back in that DRS zone. Now here's something for a debut. We see the C6 tyre for the first time this season. That's right, Pirelli have opted for the softest trio in the range. That's the C4 as the hard tyre, the C5 as the medium, and the C6 as the soft. And none of these teams even use the C6, not even in Bahrain pre-season testing, so it is a little bit of a mystery tyre, although I doubt we'll see it for the race. But back to the start, why does this Grand Prix have so many different names? Well, the official name this year is Formula 1 AWS del Made in Italy del Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix 2025. The first race held at this track was in 1980, and that's because the Italian Grand Prix temporarily moved away from Monza due to refurbishment, so this was called the Italian Grand Prix. But then after that, the organisers wanted to keep this track on the calendar, but it couldn't be called the Italian Grand Prix. Monza already had that name, and countries weren't allowed to host more than one race, so the organisers asked the Automobile Club of San Marino is the purple area here, to apply for a Grand Prix, and it was approved, and that's when the San Marino Grand Prix was born. So even though it wasn't in San Marino, that's what it was called. The track returned in 2020, and it wasn't such a big deal at that point for countries to host more than one race, so they called it the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. This blue area here is the region in which the track is located in, but you might also hear people call it Imola, and that's because of the town in which the track is located in. Let me know in the comments what you call this track, but for one driver, Kimi Antonelli, he calls it home, which is so exciting. It's also a home race for Ferrari, and it's also Lewis Hamilton's first time driving in front of the home crowd, the Tifosi, and it's also VCARB's home race. We do also see a driver change, so Franco Colapinto makes his 2026 debut after replacing Jack Doohan in the Alpine. So there's your Italian Grand Prix circuit studies all ready for the race. I'll see you for lights out.